Governance of Artificial Intelligence, Week 7, Session 33. This is a course offered by Nalsar and Mr. Fly in the NPTEL platform. The topic here is AI and scientific discovery, physics-informed AI, life sciences, governance of agentic AI, agentic science. So the agenda here is AI and science, 5 perspectives we are bringing here. The limits of language models in scientific discovery, the neural operators, the forecast net as an example, AI in life sciences, AI governance in national science ecosystems, from AI to science to agentic science, the Nobel Turing Test ultimate benchmark for AI, and the conclusion key takeaways. So the limits of language models in scientific discovery, AI scientists build on LLMs show early promise. Chemical synthesis prediction, drug repurposing, but are not the complete answer. Scientific progress is not limited by lack of new ideas. It is limited by the time and cost of physical experiments. Scientific discovery is a needle in a haystack problem. AI that generates more ideas only creates a bigger haystack. That does not guarantee that we will be able to pick up the needle from that bigger haystack. So without experimental validation, the volume of AI-generated hypothesis merely increases effort, not progress. So AI's most transformative potential is reducing the need for physical experiments, not generating more and more hypotheses. So the challenge here is whether we are getting more hypotheses or not. The challenge here is that how do we meet the need to reduce the physical experimentation need, or we need to bring down the need for physical experimentation even as we generate more hypotheses. Why data-driven AI alone cannot drive discovery? Standard data-driven AI struggles to extrapolate beyond its training distribution. It is difficultly overconfident and miscalibrated. This again, you can say that is also true of most humans. But early success may reflect interpolation near training data, not genuine extrapolation or novelty. So bold claims of AI discovery face pushback because AI discovered failures often fail to function as predicted in physical experiments, or what has been predicted by AI discovered materials as AI discovered materials, when they are put to test in physical experiments, do not function as expected. But what is discovery? It is going beyond what is known. It cannot rely solely on examples from training data, or training data is necessary but not sufficient to come up with genuine discovery. So the key gap here is purely data-driven AI lacks the physical understanding needed for truly novel scientific discovery, or what you simulate or what the AI tells may fail in the real world, or what is the data-driven AI lacks is the physical understanding. Translating that understanding into a scientific discovery means that you need to prove that in the physical environment where if it fails, it is not something that is going to help us a lot. But integrating physics into AI is also the path to the trustworthy discovery. Training on data from physical world is essential for AI to succeed in science, which means that we need to go beyond data as such. Domain-specific success is feasible. Discovering functional enzymes, predicting coronavirus variants, protein dynamics, extreme weather, or all rely on curated physical data. Challenge is, what about domains where such databases are unavailable or too sparse or beyond the current training data regimes? Solution is to integrate governing laws of physics, symmetries and domain constraints with data-driven AI to enable extrapolation. Physics-informed AI allows verification of AI discoveries, telling us what works in the real world without laborious physical prototyping. So, neural operators are proposed as a solution here. Standard neural networks like transformers and CNNs assume fixed size inputs and outputs, fundamentally ill-equipped for multi-scale scientific phenomena. Now, let us not bother too much about the scientific jargon or what exactly the author is trying to argue in terms of physics and neural operators. Neural operators learn mapping between function spaces analogous to vector versus raster graphics, resolution independent and always sharp. Learn continuous functions discretable to any resolution achieving super resolution beyond training data. So neural operators work on any grid without retraining, seamlessly train all multi-resolution data. So physics-informed neural operators can impose PDE residuals at loss higher resolution than training data, potentially surpassing training accuracy. For a better understanding, I urge you to go through the paper available as open access paper in Daedalus. We have given the reference, but my only request is here, do not get bogged down in the understanding of the theoretical aspects of that. Let us look at the practical implication of that. Forecast Nest is the first high-resolution AI weather model. It is an interdisciplinary team from NVIDIA, Caltech and Berkeley, first fully AI-based global high-resolution weather model. So the competitive accuracy, while being tens of thousands of faster than traditional physics-based weather model, correctly predicted Hurricane Lee, Beryl, and other extreme events several days before traditional models. So it is here where AI scores over traditional models trained only on 50,000 samples using 40 years of physics-informed real analysis weather data, combining satellite observation with physics. Success triggered a wave of AI weather models from Huawei, Google DeepMind, and then hosting all AI forecasts along with traditional ones. So we had two sides, traditional models and then AI forecast models. Extreme weather is chaotic. Butterfly effect zone becomes deterministic forecast fundamentally unpredictable. Long ensemble forecast, speed ensembles out of reach for traditional model. So it uses a physics constrained ensemble trained to capture tail event probability. 6-day ensemble forecasts surpass both traditional and other AI weather models in medium range in skill, speed, and stability. Architecture advantage: spherical Fourier neutral operator reinforces spherical geometry, preventing distortions near poles that cause blowups in competing models. So it extends beyond short-term, medium weather to sub-regional, sub-seasonal, and long-term modeling. So the two paradigms replace traditional solvers with end-to-end neural operators, augment solvers with AI closer models. Neural operators win decisively 4 to 6 orders of magnitude, faster differentiable inverse design, statistically optimal for chaotic systems in climate modeling and prediction. So real-world scientific applications are plasma evolution, CO2 in geological reservoirs, medical catheter design, inverse lithography, lung ultrasound imaging, physics-informed operators deployed directly to raw RF signals yield superior accuracy in lung filtration assessment. So the next frontier will be symbolic reasoning plus neural operators, and then vision is to build a foundational model for physics that composes multiple physical systems, attaining emergent capabilities to simulate previously intractable phenomena. Section 2, AI in life sciences. AI in digital technologies life sciences have moved from experimental phase to operational deployment, automation, AI-enabled supply chains, faster regulated process, data-driven commercial execution now deliver measurable gains. These capabilities raise the performance baseline but do not guarantee sustained competitive advantage. So leaders can no longer rely on incremental efficiency gains. They need to go beyond it. Isolated digital initiatives or reorganization to pull ahead. Two strategic imperatives: close the gap between isolated initiatives and integrated lifestyle capabilities, make explicit choices on where to compute and compete. Integrated life cycle data foundations are a must. They must connect discovery, deployment, manufacturing, access, and real world performance so that insights can compound across organization. As R&D becomes data driven and iterative, companies must build internal infrastructure for continuous regulatory interaction. AI enabled offerings increasingly combine software, data, analytics, and services, required coordination across organizational boundaries, or working in silos, working in isolated data sets without combining them won't work. But the matter that important here is only few companies are able to meet this on their own. So partnerships are must for to be treated as strategic infrastructure, not simply add-on. Competitive advantage will depend on the ability to orchestrate across ecosystems, sustain data flows, and align partners on measurable outcomes. Imperative 2, explicit strategic choices in R&D and distribution, because AI lowers the cost and increases throughput of discovery. Technology is reshaping how demand is formed. Preferences are influenced and products are accessed. So organization can compete on fundamentally different ways, distinct capabilities, models, and risk profiles. Ambiguity in straddling incompatible strategies without trade-offs is not no longer viable. So you need a strategic approach that can take healthcare to layer AI or legacy structures, but regulatory and reimbursement frameworks must evolve to support adaptive, data driven, outcome oriented approaches, and then precision FDA collaborative initiatives are emerging, but progress is uneven. Regulatory progress may not match the speed of the technological change, creating divergence where innovation can be developed and scaled. So, those who fund and public authorities will shape which model to scale, reimbursement design, evidence expectation, and data sharing are critical levers. So, fully capturing AI's potential requires the rethinking core processes, not just incrementally adapting existing ones to accelerating innovating to reach patients. So, what are the key questions here? Which shifts will most materially redefine where your organization win and how quickly must you move? Do you wish to be a first mover, accepting higher cost while leveraging earlier learning advantage, or you want to be a adopter later? Which strategic pathways you are prepared to commit to and where you want to forego? How to build and sustain trust across partners, regulators, and patients as AI becomes a central to decision making. Those who delay risk remain optimized for a value model that is already eroding. Decisive action today determines what paths will remain open for you tomorrow or the day after. So, after looking at the potential of AI in two case studies, we need to look at how AI governance in national science ecosystem is doing. Across 26 country case studies, the International Science Council revealed that various levels of AI readiness across national science ecosystems. Key questions remain unanswered. How AI affects research funding, data standards, scientific outputs, carriers, and international collaboration. Singapore exemplifies positive alignment because there is national coordination across data, across government, academia, and industry, creating a favorable AI science environment. Romania leverages high internet connectivity and European Union national funds for AI hardware and software investment. But there is no clear roadmap exists for as to how science ecosystem should adopt AI or measure its impacts. Both are very critical because we don't know how to get attuned to AI, how to make the best use of AI, and after that, how do we measure its impact? So the findings are national AI strategies lack science sector detail. They are there, but then there is no specific science guidance is there, absent operational details on research integrity, accountability, and trustworthy enabled science. Few countries are able to articulate standards for authorship, disclosure, reproducibility, or responsible use of AI in scientific outputs. Ambiguous governance increases the risk of scientific misconduct, reduces the trust in outputs, and complicates collaboration across countries. But countries including Australia and India report no scientific specific guidance on AI use in research settings. Actions required because embed science-based specific AI guidance in national strategies covering research integrity, authorship, disclosure, and reproducibility. Why reproducibility is a major factor? Because reproducibility of research is a major issue in science. With AI's increased use in science, particularly in generating literature, generating data, reproducibility crisis in science is made worse by use of AI extensively in science. Compute access can become a constraint. It becomes a decisive constraint in AI-enabled research in low-income countries. Many countries depend on external cloud service providers or donor-funded infrastructure against structural vulnerability and then dependability, limiting scientific autonomy. So the risk of AI divide countries with limited computing, risk in dependency on private players, impairing open science. For example, Fiji faces near explosion without regional pooling of compute, storage, and data governance. Kenya and Rwanda face similar constraints in Africa. So the action required is invest in domestic or regionally pooled compute resource infrastructure, develop secure independent data storage maps. Data stewardship is key enabler in AI-ready science. AI readiness is constrained by inadequate data stewardship. In almost all AI countries surveyed, most countries struggle with data quality. Brazil lacks data harmonized standard, limits AI in environmental science. Namibia no comprehensive data protection law. Singapore displays strong digital governance, but discipline-specific research data guidelines are still emerging. So you need to coordinate investment in data stewardship, metadata standards, open but standard secure repositories, harmonized and then taxa mining and then IP policies. Workplace planning is critical for equitable AI adoption. There is a shortage of AI domain specific skills, brain drain, skill gaps are major issues. Funding models must evolve, avoid AI bias. Funding models should not see AI as a panacea for problems, and then bias towards AI should not starve other operational or other funding models. So the Singapore's National Research Foundations is committed to SGD 500M to high performance computing and shared data infrastructure. Hungary's national laboratories provide dedicated AI research funding. Action required is adopt AI funding system to avoid AI bias, support under resource institutions and maintain investment to non-AI centric fields. So the finding 6 is environmental sustainability should be brought in because limited attention to AI environmental footprint and rising energy demands is a must. So countries need to develop some specific frameworks to ensure that environmental impact of AI in science is taken into account. Frameworks are there, assessment tools are also there. So AI in science systems, particularly the energy environmental impact should be considered. So from AI for science to agentic science is becoming a major imperative because as we discuss about education, agentic science is transforming science. Why? Because AI systems transforming from computational assistant to autonomous research partners capable of reasoning and iterative discovery and performing laboratory experiments independently. Unified framework connects foundational capabilities, core processes, domain realization from tool user to tool creator. AI agents are doing things on their own. Agentic AI cannot replace for human inquiry. It can be a co-evolving paradigm. So technical, ethical and philosophical challenges need to be addressed to ensure that trustworthy and impactful agentic science evolves. The most consequential scientific breakthroughs emerge at disciplinary intersections, yet human researchers are limited by cognitive load and siloed expertise. Future agentic systems can try to overcome this. Agents could surface latent analogies, map topological quantum field theory to techniques that require deep learning or ecological dynamics to economic modeling. Such cross domain reasoning, where humans may not be good experts or may not be good, transcends information retrieval. It should discover discovery of unifying principles that reconfigure entire fields. This is a very noble objective, but this level of synthesis would constitute a qualitatively distinct form of machine driven scientific creativity. Whether agentic AI can make it feasible, crossing domain boundaries is a big question. Yes, theoretically it seems to be feasible, but how to reach that? So, can we have a global cooperation research agent that can do science on a planetary scale? Vision is to build a global ecosystem of specialized scientific agents distributed across institutions and research infrastructures. There can be a proteomic agent in one lab, pharmacodynamics agent in another, interacting in a decentralized trust-aware network, sharing data, engaging in critical peer review, hypothesis refinement, and collaborative experimentation, or we are trying to duplicate what humans do across platforms, doing critical peer reviews, working in teams, working across different time zones, across different infrastructure frameworks. So when they operate on a planetary scale, scientific engine for grand challenges, problems defying centralized human coordination. Such a realization requires federated agent protocols which are not yet fully developed, securing multi-agent reasoning not yet fully developed, and then conceptual accountability which again is developing but not yet fully developed, for proof of thought cryptographic trails. So we are in the cusp of doing planetary scale science, but then both in terms of computing limitations as well as organizing limitations, we have not reached this level of doing that and evaluating it and benefiting from it. So agentic reproducibility is a major challenge. Validation of novelty from pattern matched output remains unresolved challenge. Transparency in reasoning, how to expose it to reasoning chains for peer review and audit. Of course, ethical and societal dimensions like questions of accountability, authorship, intellectual property, societal impact, reproducibility remain as a major constraint. Again, scaling agentic infrastructure requires governing frameworks for healthy agentic collaboration that do not exist. Again, a key pacing problem. We do think in terms of multi-agentic collaboration, but we have not reached the level of governance mechanisms and frameworks, nor we have an idea as to how do we ensure that the outputs from them can be scrutinized, scientifically validated. The Nobel Turing test is an ambitious benchmark for autonomous scientific discovery. The proposed benchmark is very ambitious. Can an autonomous agent or a hybrid human agent team generate a discovery worthy of a Nobel Prize, or can that be a paradigm shifting discovery? The requirements described right now far exceed task execution. They should generate a non-obvious, empirically testable hypothesis and devise a novel experimental methodology. It could be done by a potential robotic multi-agent. But it must contextualize and interpret findings in a way that instigates a paradigmatic shift in the scientific community. But can this be done? If this is done, or if this is achieved, it could make a maturation of a fully autonomous scientific cycle, AI as an originator of insight, not just instrument of execution, which means that AI can do many things, or AI is capable of doing things which today humans do either as autonomous individuals or as teams working together. Or the Turing test is, can AI develop a discovery that is worthy of a Nobel Prize? So the cross-cutting theme, physics informed AI is must versus text-based AI. And then we have life sciences parallel here. Cross-cutting 2, the data infrastructure informative. 40 years of physics-informed data, weather data was the foundation. And then you needed robust data foundation. Connecting discovery through real-world performance is required. Inadequate data stewardship could be a constraint. Agentic science is feasible, but then we need new governance and trust infrastructure. And then we need to invest high quality, governed, fair compliant data so that the inference and hypothesis is feasible. Cross-cutting team, AI strategies, national strategies today do not have sector specificity. We have a lot of issues in regulatory pace matching the technological change. Again, physics-informed AI discovery still needs human validation, infrastructure, peer review, formal verification. Agentic AI creates new accountability gaps. Who is responsible? Autonomous agents makes an erroneous discovery, but where do we fix it? And then international scientific community to develop governance framework for co-evaluating with AI capabilities for agentic AI that can take the agentic science's potential further. Building AI that pushes scientific frontiers is feasible, but then we have a lot of constraints to go to that level. Conclusion: AI and future of scientific discovery looks bright, but there are constraints, there are organizational limitations, there are limitations at the level of national AI policy. Then path from AI for science to agentic science requires a lot of things: trustworthy AI, planetary data infrastructure, equitable governance, and evolved funding. So the cumulative effective of or impact of AI on discovery, deployment, and development and care delivery will require a deeper redesign rather than incremental adoption. The time to act is now. But who will do that? How to do that? And then what are the constraints? We are getting to know of that only now. So the path for future of scientific discovery enabled by AI is bright and is right in the right direction. But what exactly needed to be done, we really do not know. So these are the references. The journal Daedalus we have referred to here has come out with a special issue consisting of very interesting articles. You may not understand all the technical details, but then it has got a lot of much more material for the general reader too. So these references are simply like scratching the surface of the emerging literature. So I urge you to go through them and then try to read more, understand more, so that you will get the glimpse of what AI can do for science and then what are the regulatory challenges that are there, so that this fits well within our aim to understand the governance of AI. Thank you.